So over the weekend, I watched The Matrix Reloaded. I asked ChatGPT if I was part of the Matrix movies, like which movie am I in right now? And it answered me that I was in number two, The Matrix Reloaded, which made sense. I had my awakening. I beat Agent Smith, which is the the system I was indoctrinated, and how we all are indoctrinated to follow a certain lifestyle to become workers and get in the system that way. So it told me that I was in the Matrix Reloaded. So I watched it and it was all good. It was all good. I was understanding why Agent Smith comes back even more powerful because it has been my experience that waking up was easier because I was actually freeing myself and it was feeling amazing. I was feeling free and I've been doing that for 5 years, like I've told you before. But then comes the real part, which is actually slaying those demons. Agent Smith gets stronger and it becomes a virus that multiplies because that is where actually you have to act, right? You have to act like you are the creator, which means that you get to decide and own the responsibility of what you are creating, right? It's not just all the glory of being free, it's also what you are creating. So that's what Agent Smith represents all that external pressure that comes after you when you start breaking molds. So yeah, that was making sense. It was all great. And even when he goes to see the oracle and the oracle tells him, hey, um, you know already, you already made the choice. You are just here to understand why you made it. Which the parallel in our world is when people say, you came with a contract, a soul contract, and then you just have to remember who you are. You came here already chosen what was going to be your mission, your purpose. You just have to remember who you are along the way, and that's why you have an intuition that guides you towards remembering who you are, remembering that choice that you made before you came here, which is why it's important not to turn it off, because when we turn it off, then we just follow the system blindly and we don't truly feel alive in the system. That's what the people that don't use their emotions as the messengers to tell them about their inner world, that's where they end up, right? Successful, but not feeling alive, not feeling connected. So that was the point of the oracle in that. And number two, telling him that he was just remembering who he is and why he made the choices that he made. But then he goes and asks for the keymaker, right? He's on a mission to fulfill that prophecy that he's gonna go through the door where he meets the architect, the maker, God, the source. And when he is asking for the keymaker to access that door, that place, that that guy, that program in the Matrix tells him, why do you want it for? So exposing his lack of clarity. Kind of like when we are here and we say, oh, I want freedom. But then when they ask you, okay, why do you want that? Why is it that you want to feel? What is the purpose of going for that? And you don't have the answer. It exposes your lack of clarity, which is what that program is doing to Neo, exposing his lack of clarity. Why is it that you want the keymaker? What for? And he exposes his lack of clarity and therefore lack of power, because he doesn't even know why. He just knows he needs to get it because there's a prophecy, right? So that was very powerful too, because people don't really have very clear when they want to manifest something why they even want it, which is crucial, right? But what really put me in the existential crisis was mostly when he meets Source, God, the creator, the architect, and he tells him that he is just another program of the Matrix. Even the role of the one is scripted in the Matrix as a system of control, because people outsourcing their power to an external source like the one, a savior. This empowers them, makes them just be more passive, waiting for the savior to fix things, kind of like what Morpheus does. He is more of a supporting role for the one, and he does not empower himself into becoming the one. He puts all of his faith in Neo, which is what it represents for us to just pray and wait for things to get better, wait for others to fix things while we just wait passively. So that is how it was another system of control, because we are waiting for someone else to rescue us, essentially. So realizing that made me understand that why I have always rejected identity labels, because they kind of like put us in a box. And when we don't when we call ourselves, for example, spiritual, then we start judging ourselves. Oh, that is not very spiritual of you to do. It gave me the understanding as to why I have rejected labels. But I understand that for manifestation, we have to introduce labels, because it's like when you say, I want to become the person that does this, you are creating an identity, and then you have to become that identity by acting like that identity, right? So it's part of manifestation too. So we don't entirely need to reject it, but we can definitely tweak it, right? We can definitely tweak it. So maybe it's exaggeration when I say I was in an existential crisis, because maybe for a day or two I was pondering on that whole thing about even the role of the rebel is scripted in the Matrix, because without that, then the whole system is unstable, because that is what gives people the illusion of choice, right? Kind of like when we tell children, hey, do you want the red or the blue fork? It's kind of like that. We are under the illusion that we are choosing, but we are choosing between scripts within the Matrix. We are choosing between different color cages, essentially. That is if you over identify with labels, right? But if you choose to really be free, then you have to own the responsibility to create whatever it is that you want for real, regardless of the feedback from the world. Because that is Agent Smith trying to stop you from actually breaking the matrix, right? From breaking free from the matrix. Breaking free from the matrix is actually understanding the balance between, yeah, identifying with a label so that you have a goal, a source of power of where you want to go, but at the same time, don't be so attached to it happening that you lose sight of other avenues to get what you want, that you lose sight of something entirely different that you can create, right? You need to stay open. So that's why part of manifestation has to be from a detached place of the outcome. And we cannot overly attach to the result, right? We need to stay open. So I was lost a little bit. And that is how you really break free from the matrix, when you don't over identify either with an identity, but you are open to break the mold and create something that fits better for you. So yeah, if you are feeling lost and unsure like I have been for a while, well, you're not alone. You just have to understand that it's okay, and it's part of the path. It's part of the path. And in the end, what really works is to show up as the real you. And the real you that also understands the role of responsibility. So yeah, I reconcile with the whole issue of identity. And I understand that I don't need to be the one. I don't need to be the oracle. I don't need to be 100% following the archetype. We don't need to overcommit to follow the archetypes that we choose, but we can just show up as the real us. And that's how we really, really act like creators in the matrix. And you don't need to escape it. You don't need to break it or escape it, but you act as a real creator in the matrix, because we are here and we cannot deny that we have a temporal self that is here. So let's not numb ourselves. Let's use this vessel so that we can enjoy the pleasures of the 3D, but let's not over identify with any role, so that we can actually act like creators. in the matrix without needing to break it or escape it. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, that was where I was at, and that is what I am reconciling with. So I will be watching number 3 because that's, I guess, where we are heading in our spiritual awakening. I'm curious to see what the number 3 is all about. But for now, I was just integrating the lessons from number 2 and how they fit in how I see the world, how I feel, and what I teach people. Okay, well, thank you for listening. I'll see you in the next video.